A company you've never heard of controls whether you get a house, a car, or a job. They make $35 billion doing it. And the formula they use to judge you? It's literally a secret. They won't show it to you, they won't show it to Congress, and they won't show it to the courts. But every bank, every landlord, every employer in America trusts it with your life. And what they don't tell you is that this system was never designed to help you. It was designed to make them rich. Your credit score follows you everywhere. Apply for a mortgage? They check your score. Apply for a car loan? They check your score. Try to rent an apartment? They check your score. Apply for a job? 51% of employers check your credit before they'll even consider hiring you. Get car insurance? Drivers with bad credit pay 80% more than drivers with perfect records and good credit. That's $1,400 a year extra for a number you didn't ask for, generated by a formula you can't see, controlled by companies you never agreed to do business with. Over 200 million Americans are trapped in this system, and not a single one of them signed up for it. So who built this cage? And why? The answer is more disturbing than you think. 1956. Two men in San Rafael, California, changed the future of every American who would ever be born. Bill Fair, an engineer, and Earl Isaac, a mathematician, founded Fair, Isaac and Company. Their idea was simple. Replace the subjective, often racist decisions of individual loan officers with a mathematical formula. Sounds noble, right? Except they didn't eliminate the bias. They automated it, and they turned it into a business. By 1989, their formula became the FICO score. By 1995, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac required it for every mortgage in America. That was the moment you lost your choice. Today, Fair Isaac Corporation is a $35 billion Wall Street darling. Their stock trades at over $1,100 a share. Their gross profit margin, 83%. The product costs them almost nothing to produce because the product is you. And here's the part that should make your blood boil. BlackRock and Vanguard, the two largest asset managers on Earth, own up to 87% of FICO. The same Wall Street giants that control your retirement fund also control the number that determines whether you can buy a home. But the real scandal isn't who owns it, it's what happens when they get it wrong. To understand how broken this system really is, you need to meet the three companies that make it all possible: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. The CFPB's own director called them a credit bureau cartel, and he wasn't exaggerating. These three companies collect every piece of your financial data. Every credit card payment, every missed bill, every loan you've ever taken out. They do this without your permission. You never signed a contract. You never clicked, "I agree." They just take it. And then they sell it. Experian makes $7.1 billion a year. Equifax makes $5.5 billion. TransUnion makes $4.2 billion. That's $16.8 billion a year selling your data. And then, in what might be the most insulting business model ever created, they charge you to see what they've collected about you. You are the product and the customer. But it gets worse. 2.7 million complaints were filed against these companies in 2025 alone. And the resolution rate? Experian went from fixing 20% of complaints to less than 1%. They stopped even pretending to care. And then Equifax did something that should have destroyed them forever. September 2017. Equifax announces that hackers have stolen the personal data of 147 million Americans. Names: Social Security numbers, birth dates, addresses, driver's license numbers. Nearly half the country exposed. And how did it happen? Equifax failed to patch a known security vulnerability for months. Their intrusion detection system wasn't even working because a security certificate had expired. The hackers were inside their systems for over 2 months before anyone noticed. But here's where the story turns from negligence into something that looks a lot like criminal conspiracy. 3 Equifax executives sold $1.8 million in company stock days after the breach was discovered internally, but more than a month before the public was told. The chief information officer dumped nearly $1 million in shares, dodging $117,000 in losses. The SEC filed criminal insider trading charges. And the CEO? Richard Smith didn't get fired. He retired with a $90 million golden parachute. $72 million in compensation that year alone, 18.5 million in retirement benefits that legally cannot be taken away. Meanwhile, the 147 million Americans whose social security numbers were stolen, they got $125 each. Equifax's stock dropped 35%, then it fully recovered within a year. The company is still in business, still collecting your data, still making $5.5 billion a year. Nobody went to jail for the negligence. The only people indicted were Chinese military hackers. But the breach was just the beginning. What they're still doing with your data is even worse. Let's talk about what a credit score actually costs you, not in theory, in dollars. If your score drops from 760 to 620, you will pay $77,585 more in interest on the exact same mortgage. That's $216 extra every single month for 30 years. Miss one $50 credit card payment while you're in the hospital? That single late payment drops your score by up to 100 points and stays on your report for 7 years. Over a lifetime, that one missed payment costs you $150,000. More for your mortgage, more for car insurance, more for home insurance, maybe a lost job. But here's where this system reveals what it really is. The median credit score for white Americans is 730. For black Americans, 639. That's a 91-point gap. And it's not an accident. In the 1930s through the 1960s, the federal government refused to guarantee home loans in black neighborhoods. They called it redlining. It denied an entire generation of black families the primary wealth-building tool in America. No home ownership meant no generational wealth. No generational wealth meant less financial cushion. Less cushion meant lower credit scores for their children and their children's children. A 2004 study found that historically redlined zip codes still have significantly worse credit scores today. The algorithm claims to be colorblind. But when it rewards long credit history and wealth and one race was systematically denied both for decades, it's just racism with a math degree. And an entire scam industry has sprung up to prey on the people this system already destroyed. So-called credit repair companies have stolen tens of millions from desperate consumers. The FTC shut down one scheme called the credit game that cost victims $50 million. The system creates the wound, and then scammers sell you a fake bandage. So is there actually a way out? Other countries found one. France doesn't use credit scores. Lenders look at your bank statements and your income. They assess whether you can actually afford the loan. Japan doesn't use credit scores. Banks evaluate your employment, your income, and your relationship with the institution. Sweden uses a blacklist system based on publicly available information. You start clean and only get flagged if you fail to pay. Denmark doesn't have a national credit score at all. Every single one of these countries has a functioning economy. Their banks make loans. Their citizens buy homes. The world didn't end. These countries prove that the American credit score system is not a necessity. It's a choice. A choice that makes FICO $2 billion a year. That makes the credit bureaus $16.8 billion. And that costs you your financial freedom. And the one federal agency that was supposed to protect you from this? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? In February 2025, it was gutted. Staff fired. Investigations frozen. Enforcement actions dropped. They literally dropped a lawsuit against TransUnion for failing to handle credit freezes. Since then, 2.7 million complaints have gone without any relief. Consumers lost more than $15 billion due to weakened oversight. The cops left the building, and the credit bureaus immediately stopped pretending to care. This is the system. A secret algorithm invented in the 1950s turned into a $35 billion monopoly enforced by a data cartel that sells your information for $16 billion a year. Protected by lobbyists who spend millions making sure nobody ever holds them accountable. And the agency built to protect you from all of it is being dismantled in real time. Next week, we're investigating the companies that profit when this system destroys your life. The predatory lending industry that charges 300% interest to the people credit scores already crushed. It's called the poverty trap, and it's worth billions. Subscribe so you don't miss it, because the system is counting on you not paying attention.